What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have some giant things to cover in today's video. Facebook stock is blasting to the upside today after they just reported earnings. Other stocks are going crazy, like Beyond Meat. It shot up like absolutely crazy in the middle of the day today, and it ended up giving back almost all of its gains. On top of that, we have some big things to cover with Ford and some other stocks. So make sure to stick around to the end of today's video. Let us know what stocks you were watching in the comments down below. A lot of the times, the stocks you guys comment, we end up covering. But Tom, Facebook, the market, what's going on?
Yeah, Facebook is exploding, Mike. And in the middle of the day, we had some really crazy price action with Facebook. You can see over the course of a few minutes here, Facebook kind of tumbled off as Bloomberg actually put out something on their terminal that reported false earnings in the middle of the day. This was pretty crazy. I believe people even talked about it a ton on Twitter and stuff like that. You can see there is an article here kind of talking about it today from Seeking Alpha, where they kind of had this mistake happen. That you can see they specifically say Bloomberg terminals flashed a headline that Meta expected a certain forecast for Q2. But as we can see, Facebook initially fell down, Mike, and a lot of people were worried Facebook was going to report negative numbers, kind of like that false information suggested. But whenever their earnings came out tonight, they ended up doing very well, Mike, and they're almost back up to $200, which is an insane price point. I'm really glad to see them moving up like this. And some of these numbers, Mike, are really awesome to look at. You can see we have Zuckerberg here. He looks kind of happy, and I'd be happy too. He ended up beating on the EPS. His revenue actually came in just under the expectation, but I will say it was very, very close there. Their daily active users were actually right at expectation, which is great because that's what kind of had been falling last time. So I'm glad to see that coming in well, Mike. And so far, the report came out and the numbers are pretty good.
Exactly, and check out those daily active users, just like you said. I know a lot of people were looking at that metric because it shows you the strength of Facebook specifically. Like the more people that are on it, the better for Meta or Facebook as a company overall. To see that they came in slightly above expectations is always good. And if we could pull up the Meta quarter report all the way at the top, we could see that Mark Zuckerberg actually said that more people use our services today than ever before, and I'm proud of how our products are serving people around the world. So overall, it's a pretty decent report for Facebook, and on top of that, they've just been trading at a pretty low valuation, relatively speaking.
Yeah, they really have. And a lot of these numbers are just looking very good on the charts, Mike. And whenever we go to Facebook, there's their chart specifically here. They're exploding in after hours. Like I said, that $200 price point is huge for them. Ever since they fell below that a couple weeks ago, they've been really selling off. I'm really glad to see them kind of getting back up there, Mike. And hopefully this kind of starts a good uptrend here. Tonight we had a lot of stocks report. A lot of them ended up doing pretty well so far. So far, so good with Facebook. I'm curious to see where it's going to end up opening up tomorrow. I'm thinking, Mike, we might not open above 200. Of course, everything's volatile. We might end up opening somewhere around 190 or something like that. But as long as it holds up, I'll be really happy because, Mike, it's been a long time since we've seen Facebook have this type of movement. And like you said, a lot of people were watching those daily active users thinking that might go down here, but they really surprised, Mike. And man, I feel bad because that report that came out in the middle of the day was so disheartening. And I feel like a lot of people might have ended up getting some puts, kind of thinking that, that information might have been truthful and was leaked by mistake. But as we can see here, the market kind of went against anyone who got those puts.
Yeah, exactly. So all in all, I'm someone who thinks Facebook stock is undervalued given the current data that we have. I like it for the long term. Anything can happen in the short term, but it's nice to see the stock blasting up.
Yeah, it is. I like it for the long term too. And Mike, we actually had some pretty crazy intraday movement out of Beyond Meat as well. So Facebook kind of had some fake news come out in the middle of the day, or, they dropped that misinformation there, but Beyond Meat had a very similar situation. So what actually happened with this, a report came out in the middle of the day and actually suggested that Beyond Meat's plant-based burger will permanently be on McDonald's menu. But we can see here, there was actually a report on the Motley Fool where they have an awesome article talking about this whole situation today. They pretty much said that that McDonald's is refuting this, which is definitely big to see here. They say it right here that McDonald's said that they misconstrued the issue. So either way, it caused Beyond Meat stock to fall right back to the downside. And apparently people are pretty upset with whoever put out that initial headline because, man, that stock really shot up, Mike. It went from $36 up to $47. That is a big increase for something that ended up being fake news.
Yeah, and it shot up so quickly too. It was like today was such a weird and just volatile day because we had this fake Beyond Meat news, and then we also had like the fake Facebook news too. So it was just weird.
Yeah, it was. And in the past, we had something like this happen with Affirm as well. I remember a long time ago, Affirm ended up tanking 21% after their Twitter account accidentally reported their quarterly results early. I remember, Mike, this was hilarious when it happened. I'll honestly never forget it now that we brought it up again. But man, it's crazy how sometimes these companies have little blunders and stuff like this, and it really ends up hurting the stocks or helping sometimes. But man, it's just it's crazy to see how sometimes you can get this crazy price action intraday from some of these mistakes. But man, a lot of stocks reported earnings tonight, Mike. We saw Ford report. So far, it's going very well. Qualcomm reported. They're moving up. Teladoc, unfortunately, is tanking down, which is a little bit disheartening here. But Pinterest is doing well. PayPal's up. So far, so good, Mike, with the reports. I know it's not good for Teladoc, but man, Ford is doing quite well.
There we go. Alrighty, Tom, what other important earnings do we have for the rest of the week? I know this is like one of the most important weeks of the year.
Yeah, it is. So tomorrow morning, we're going to have Twitter. That's going to be huge, guys. Of course, Elon Musk has been in the headlines a ton with that one lately. I really hope they have some nice guidance and stuff like that come in. With Facebook and everything rising, Mike, maybe Twitter will end up rising up tomorrow too. Sometimes these social media companies end up moving in sympathy. So maybe we'll see a nice pop with them. After close, though, Apple, Amazon, Roku, Intel, and Robinhood. We have quite the lineup tomorrow, Mike. Apple's going to be huge there. Of course, Amazon is too. Man, I can't wait to see how Apple reports. Obviously, they're a powerhouse, Mike. And tomorrow before open, I'm kind of going to be interested in Caterpillar as well. They're kind of one of those slower movers, but they've been pretty volatile actually the past couple of years.
Right, there we go. All right, so I just want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day today, which is Simp in the Discord. Thank you so much, Simp, for being a great member of the chat. You've been with us for almost 2 years now, so thanks so much for all of your positivity, activity, and support. Tom and I really appreciate you. But Tom, it's now time for those momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Square to the downside.
Yeah, Square was pretty brutal today. Go ahead and make them break below $98 even. They actually kind of double bottom there.
All right, with the next one, we have CrowdStrike also to the downside.
Yeah, CrowdStrike. Go ahead and make them break below $200. That's going to be a huge psychological level too.
All right, and with the last one, we have BABA to the upside, and these China stocks had a decent day.
Yeah, they really did actually. What all of them did, even Neo. But yeah, go ahead and make BABA break out above $89.
Sounds good. So we are watching BABA for a potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the levels Tom listed. And we are watching CrowdStrike and Square for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. But all in all, Tom, the market is at an interesting point. Tomorrow will be very, very, very important considering the giant earnings reports that will be released, especially with Apple and Amazon. It's nice to see Facebook popping up. The market had an okay day today, but tomorrow will be very important.
Yeah, it really will. That's going to be a big day. Obviously, Apple is one of the biggest stocks in the market regarding market cap. And, it's going to be a huge day. So definitely keep your eyes on the market, guys. It was pretty shaky today. The SPY was all over the place, looked like a heartbeat monitor once again, ended up bouncing a lot around this 417 to 418 support intraday. We did have some pretty good upwards movement there for a while, Mike, but towards the end of the day, we started selling back off. With these earnings going well tonight, like Facebook, Qualcomm, Ford, and stocks like that, I feel like that we might start to see maybe a move back up with the SPY if some of these earnings keep going well, but we'll have to see what happens. We're definitely at a big price point. Like I said, if we start falling below some key supports like 415 tomorrow, I'll definitely start to maybe eye up some puts on the SPY. But, if we end up holding this 417 to 418 support and moving up, who knows? We might end up and we might be able to go bullish on the SPY for the next couple of days, especially with Apple and some of those nice companies reporting. It seems like the companies, Mike, with decent valuations have done pretty well so far.
Yeah, very true. Looking at the SPY, what are you seeing in terms of resistance?
Yeah, I mean, if they start rising, there was a big resistance intraday today and yesterday, right around 422. So I think that'll be a pretty big level. Of course, if we break that, I'm really seeing Mike up here at the top, like 427.50 to 428 as the main upper resistance up there. I think that'll be pretty hard to break above. But man, honestly, if we see a nice move up towards there tomorrow, I think it would make for some pretty nice price action anyway. So maybe that would be a nice target for tomorrow if we do see some breakouts above like 422.
There we go. If you guys learned something from this video, or if you like these style of videos, make sure to subscribe down below. We have a bunch of great things planned for the channel. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. You'll see our videos more often, and it helps out the channel too. Also, let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below, because remember, a lot of times these stocks you guys comment, we end up covering. So definitely do that. Besides that, let's have a great end to the week.